Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the PTFC Podcast. We missed a week last week, but we're back on it, so we've got plenty to squeeze in. We've got the review of the Guildford game. We'll also touch on the defeat to Carnarvon in the Welsh Cup. We've got usual injury suspension updates. We're going to look ahead to the massive game against Rill away on Boxing Day, and we're going to have a bit of a wider squad discussion. After going through the top three players of the season last time, give a few more players a mention. Now, I say we because I'm actually joined today by, collectively, I guess you guys are known as the P-Town Massive. That's the Twitter account. So I've got Kieran, Morgan, and Adam. So for those of you that may not know, they're the lads that are making all the noise on the halfway line for 90 minutes through the game, singing about Griff being Ronaldo the whole time.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're going to join me for a discussion. So it's coming up to 7 o'clock. We're in the pitch black at Bastion Gardens, and we've got a few things to get through. So just before I get into things, just asking you lads before I came on then, how did you kind of come into the games, and when did all the noise start?
I think we started just before Llanrhaid, the big result there, and in school we all just decided that we wanted to come down and support the town.
I mean, Alex Jones put on Twitter how much he appreciated it after the Guildford game. You know, all the young lads making the noise on the halfway line. Loads of fans have been saying it. Gibbo said it, like, just to have that support, especially from like a new generation of fans, I guess. So like, just give us like a verdict so far this season. I mean, you know, we've gone out of the Welsh Cup, but we had a good run. How do you think things are going based on where we've come from?
So I feel like the way Preston play now, it's quite exciting football. The way, you know, it's not boring. So it gives like the younger generation, as you said, a chance to support their local club. Anyway, it's quite exciting. With us singing on the halfway line. Yeah, it's a fun. You know, it's not fun, but it's an exciting game to watch.
Yeah. Have you seen a massive improvement in the actual style of play since since Gibbo's kind of made everything click then?
I think since Gibbo's come in, there's been a difference in the way we play. He's brought in a lot of new players. I think that's helped. Obviously players gone out as well, so there have been changes, but I think it's for the better so far. Yeah.
A lot of new faces as well. A few going out, a lot coming in. You know, the likes of Ben Maher, Alec Williams was the first one to come back in. Which of those players that Gibbo's brought in do you think's had the most impact, do you reckon?
I think Ben Maher, because he's given Griffo and strike partner up front, and it's just because we know Ben Maher's brother, so it's like kind of exciting for us.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he came from Carnarvon, didn't he? He was here the season before, came back from Carnarvon, and you can just see that class. And the way I see it is like, he adds to that closing down that we do up front.
Yeah.
You know, Griff does that all game. Aaron White does that. Whoever's playing up top there, I think that they must be told to just close the gap constantly. And Ben Maher's one of those, in it. So before we get into a bit more discussion, I'm just going to go through the injury and suspension updates ahead of the Rill game. So as we know, Aaron White is back. He had a great game against Guildford. Gibbo actually picked him out for his performance. James Hay and Chris Bennett, they weren't featured in the first team against Guildford. That's because they were playing for the reserves, getting minutes and fitness there. So you got James Hay and Chris Bennett. They actually both scored in that game as well, so they could be back against Rill. And obviously the big one is Dave Hayes being back after a suspension that seems to have gone on forever. Now, just touching on the defence, we've had a few different partnerships back there. Dan Roberts has done well. Sam Kirsch has done well. Do you think Dave Hayes coming back in is as big a thing as people are making out?
I think he's a good centre back, and I think the centre backs we've got at the minute, they're good. You know, we've been solid at the back, and only the Carnarvon game we've seen a bit, you know, the conditions and all that, and obviously they're a Welsh Premier League side. But I think with Hayes coming back in, it will obviously boost the squad up, and, you know, give the team more morale to go forward and, you know, win more games.
I think Hazy is a leader, isn't he? That's what he does. As Adam said, the defence has been solid. I think 5 game suspension for Hazy. I think we've missed him because we have conceded goals, but the defence has been solid, as I said. So I think he'll be welcome back into the team.
Yeah, I think he will. Fullback is an interesting one, and it's probably the position I'm interested in most because I think Casey Faulkner's been phenomenal there since he's got a run of games. Chris Bennett as well on the right. What's your assessment of the fullbacks?
I think the fullbacks have been influential to our success in recent weeks because they've been offering a lot of support going forward and defensively. And I think Casey has been phenomenal, definitely.
So you were talking about young players and stuff. Casey being one of them. Obviously you got Nathaniel Hume, Steve, Sam Hurd, Aaron White, Macaulay Taylor. All these young players. Elliot Lloyd as well, who he'd probably be at the heart of that defence now if he ain't got that injury at the start of the season. So talking about young players, we had a 16-year-old come on against Guilsfield at the end of the game the other day, Sam Duffy, and he got a lot of recognition from people for obviously making a debut at 16. For a club the size of Prestatyn. As Prestatyn fans, are you kind of proud of the fact that youth is like such a big part of the club and that Gibbo's come back in and he's determined to keep that up?
I think it just shows what as like a club and a town, because he's a local lad, obviously. It shows what Prestatyn's all about. Because obviously we went to school with him and we've watched him.
I know Sam.
He's in Europe above us, okay. And he's Jack, who's meant to be here tonight, is his cousin.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Was he
played against him a few times?
You played against him?
Yeah, and went to primary with him.
Is he hard to play against?
Yeah, definitely.
Another quick talking point is that slowly but surely and quite quietly actually, Griffo is actually creeping up on the top goal scorers in the league. I think he's
fourth on 8 goals.
8. And he's had a few cup goals as well.
Yeah.
Do you think Griff can get top goal scorer by the end of the season, considering we seem to be getting better and better with every game?
I don't see why not. We're moving up the league. We're scoring a lot of goals. A few big results in the past few weeks. There's goals from other places on the pitch as well. You've got Benmar coming in with a few. Alex Jones scored a few as well in the past few weeks. So I don't see why he can't. With the support he gets up there, I think possibility, yeah. Alex
Jones is an interesting one actually because for me he's captain all over, and I think Gibbo's mentioned a few times that he just has this knack of popping up and scoring in nearly every game. What do you think Alex brings to the side? Because I think the one game that he missed, or a couple of games that he missed, we just weren't the same side at all.
He's just always there in a way. He's always in the middle of the pitch. He's always putting pressure on, and the way we play, it suits him perfectly. We see when he comes off, he's out of breath and he's always red in the face. And I think missing him is massive for other teams to jump on in the midfield to get more goals and dominate that. But I think when he's playing, obviously being the captain, he supports players around him. It's not just him that's telling people to do either. It's other people like Gibbo and all that. So,
I mean, there's leaders all over the pitch. I mean, I think I noticed you guys were pretty happy when Adam came on.
Yeah.
Against what was it, Carnarvon? He came on and then he started against Guilsfield. Why is that then?
I just think he's a phenomenal player. He gets in. Doesn't matter if the lad's 6'5", he gets in the tackle, he wins the ball back, and he helps move the ball forward into the attack.
I mean, we were going to move on to this a bit later in the conversation, but we'll go there now. What other players do you think have kind of been sort of unsung heroes in the last few weeks within the squad? Are there any that you pick out?
I think Casey Faulkner at fullback. Yeah. I think he's been very, very good down the left hand side. He's played on the right as well, I believe. Yeah. Very quick up and down the line. He gets forward and is back when you need him. So I think he's solid for many years to come, hopefully. I think, as you say, Alex Jones he's an outlet for the attack. He's always there in the right positions at the right time. So,
I want to give James Jones a bit of props because he's been one of them players that's. I didn't actually know he was Alex's twin brother. I thought I knew they were brothers. I didn't think they were twins. James has been one of them players he's been squeezed into the side nearly every position. I think the only place he hasn't played is that goalkeeper. He's been a proper utility player, but every time he's been called on, he's performed. At centre back alongside Dan Roberts, he's looked steady. He's thrown himself in front of everything, and I reckon the squad is full of players like that will literally throw themselves in front of things. And the weather against Guildford was awful. I don't think I wouldn't want to play in that at all. And I reckon that was the best game we had this season. Do you agree?
Yeah. Touching on how they give everything, all of them. They love to play for the badge, and it's such an honour as fans going out and watching them give 110% every weekend.
I think it's easy to sit here and say this, but from being within the club, I feel like Prestatyn has something that a lot of other clubs in this kind of league and around this region don't. And that's no disrespect to them clubs. They're great. A lot of them play some really nice football, but there's just something about Prestatyn, in terms of the way they play the youth, the way the fans are there home and away all the time. And I don't know about you guys, but it makes me proud to be a town fan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the youth side of things, we've got the athletic club down the road. That's given off lots of great youth players who are coming up. Like Sam Duffy's done. He's come up. Obviously, come on against Guildford. I think Prestatyn is a community. There's everyone's. If anyone was given the opportunity to play here, they'd be honoured to do so. I think the young players coming in will make an impact in the next few.
So we were talking about the Guildford game briefly then, but what did you actually make of the performance from start to finish and that?
Obviously, the weather. That's the first thing that pops your head. It's not obviously good conditions. The wind, the rain. I think the way we played, didn't. I felt like in the Carnarvon game, we sort of seemed to play it in the air and the ball always came back. But I feel like we learned in the Guildford game to get it down, play quick shot football, and get goals early. And then put it to bed straight away.
I mean, after the Carnarvon game, I spoke to Gibbo and he was absolutely adamant that he was going to get him in training and get working on things, and that we were going to get a result against Guildford, and he did that. What else did you see in the performance that was different? Obviously, the quality of opposition was different, but a couple of weeks before, Guildford had actually held, I think it was Nomads. Took them to penalties. So what changed? Other than getting the ball down on the ground, what else did you see?
I think we were very very good defensively. Obviously, I think it was Griffo's second goal, we hit him on the break quickly with Ben down the wing. But yeah, I think the defence deserve a shout out because they were solid all game.
Yeah,
didn't really give Guildford any opportunities.
And Gibbo's got a headache now with Hazy coming back, because you've essentially got 4 centre backs in there that all of them are starters really in Kirsch, Dan Roberts, James Jones, and who you just mentioned then? No. Well, anyway, we've got 4 starting centre backs, haven't we? And it's Dave Hayes. That's what I was talking about. That could all get in there, and it's good to have that kind of selection dilemma, because we've got that all over the pitch really. It's not just Griff that's scoring goals, it's Ben Marr. Ollie Buckley's almost been forgotten about because he's missed a couple of games. He was cup tied, and he's a couple of games out and he's been forgotten, and he scored something ridiculous like 8 goals in his first 6 games. So there's goals coming from everywhere. Now moving on to the wider squad, we've it's hard to say, but do you think that all the players that Gibbo's brought in have worked? Obviously, it's short termism, but What else would you say that this squad needs to kind of reach the goals for this season?
I think all the players that have been brought in, I think, have made an impact wherever they're playing on the pitch. I think Ben's made a good impact in attack. Griffo came in recently, has been scoring the goals up front. So I think all the players that have been brought in have made good impacts where they've been needed, where Gibbo's put them. Yeah.
Now, moving on to Rill on Boxing Day. I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely buzzing for that one. Are you guys going to be there actually?
I'm going to try and make it.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah, we're
Going to try our best. Hope so. Yeah.
So, you know, with obviously coming into the club recently and stuff, it won't be kind of fresh on your minds. But what do you know about the kind of rivalry between Rill and Prestatyn? I mean, it speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? What do you think this game means to kind of the wider fan community in Prestatyn?
I think it's massive for everyone who's associated with Prestatyn and Rill. You know, as bragging rights almost.
Yeah.
Like, I think all the players here just want to win and want to make the town and the fans proud of them.
I think as well, Rill sort of the last 5 or so years, they've been the dominant side, let's say. I mean, that, and now we're sort of the same league level, it's now getting on top of them. So it's like a balancing act in a way.
Yeah. I mean, so we played them earlier in the season, and I can't remember the exact score, but I know it was a draw, 1-1. Yeah. So Alex Jones got the late goal, didn't he? And he was desperate to score in that game. Rill have won 9 on the bounce now.
9, yeah.
We've won two league games on the bounce, which is that can't be understated. It's huge from where we were. Good cup run and everything, but do you see it being a tough game? Do you see the kind of the recent record going out the window and it's just on the day? How's it going to go?
Yeah, I feel like form in this sort of game wouldn't exactly matter. I mean, it's all about on the day how you prepare for the game and how you are feeling for the game and how we set up and how they set up and all that.
Survival is obviously the goal this season. I think everyone knew that before even a ball was kicked. Exodus of the squad last summer. New managers coming in who, to be fair to them, did a great job. Leon brought Griffo in. Leon brought Alex in. He brought Chris Bennett in from St Asaph, where he was Player of the Year. There's still a lot of influence from Leon and Ryan in this squad. So with survival being the goal, is that almost guaranteed now? How do you see it?
You can't take anything for granted. We've been down there where results going our way in recent weeks. We're moving up the table. I know Hollywell moving into the bottom 2. We've got them coming up, so that's a big game. That I think if we keep playing the way we're playing, keep playing the nice football, Griffo bagging the goals, Ben Marg bagging the goals, I think we can. I don't see why we can't push ourselves up towards the top 10 of the table. Yeah,
I mean, it obviously helps that a couple of teams around us are struggling. Conway have just gone through, or they're going through their own kind of period of transition at the moment. Just lost their coaching staff, so they're rebuilding. Results aren't going their way. Obviously, Holyhead, Hollywell. So there's teams around us, and we've got a few games against those kind of teams coming up. I don't want to look too far ahead, but there's also the next home game is what do we say? Porthmadog, is it?
Porthmadog.
So they did a number on us at Porthmadog earlier in the season. We weren't even close. Do you think that they're going to be surprised by the way that the gap has been closed between the two sides? Even though they're in second place at the moment.
Yeah, I think we've come a long way since then, and we're playing a lot better football, and we've got the confidence. The lads are very confident. They're all giving 110% every week, so I think that Porthmadog will be very surprised, and I don't think it'll be an easy game for them.
Just for my own interest, like you were on about the academies around Prestatyn and stuff before, lads that you're in school with and everything like that. Are there any kind of players that people should be looking out for in the next kind of 2-3 years, like Sam Duffy? Don't want to drop any names, like.
I'm not sure.
I think anyone, if they prove themselves, can step up and show what they can do.
Yeah.
When they're at the right age, if they show what they can do, there's no reason why they can't come up and play at the bigger level.
So with obviously survival being the goal this season, again, I don't want to look too far forward, but I think we'll probably achieve that. I think it'd be a massive disappointment if we didn't, and a surprise actually. And then the goal next season has already been set to promotion. Is that too big a jump? Is that, or are we on course for that?
I don't see why. Why not?
Yeah.
You got to set aims.
Mm.
If you don't hit them targets, then go again. Obviously, survival this season is the main priority.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'll just see what next season brings. Obviously, that's what we go for, promotion. But if we don't achieve that, then the next season we go for it again.
Yeah. So there you go. That was me speaking to a few of the fans. It's good to hear them speaking so passionately about the club, actually, isn't it? And we want to do more of that in the future. Get you guys on and discussing the points that you want to talk about. So just a quick note: the third episode of the podcast, you're not going to have to wait as long for it because it's going to be out on Boxing Day night. So straight after the real game, we're recording that, and hopefully it's a positive one. Because we've got a lot of work to do to get a result there. It's going to be a very different game to the one earlier in the season when both sides were struggling really. So hopefully it's going to be a positive one then. So I'll speak to you all on Boxing Day and have a nice Christmas.